Is it bad if I'm not Miss Teen Missouri?
You're not Miss Teen Missouri? Miss
Missouri Teen.
Miss Missouri Teen, guys. I sincerely apologize. Miss Missouri Teen. How are you doing?
Do we have to redo it?
No, we can keep going.
But I'm looking at it.
Do you want to start over? Should we start over? You want to start over? Okay, we can do that. Hello, guys. Welcome to the very first Chidera Brittney podcast. I'm here with the one, the only, Miss Missouri Teen USA, Anna.long.
And I'm here with the one and only Dara. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Of course, Anna. I am so glad that you're here today.
Me too. I've never done a podcast, and this is on my bucket list, so I'm so excited.
Awesome. We are just crossing off things.
Yes.
I feel like you've been crossing off a lot of things on your bucket list.
I've been working on it.
The past, 2 years, honestly.
Yeah.
I saw you walked in Kansas City Fashion Week.
Yes, that was a bucket list.
So pretty. I love that
you.
gown. You looked amazing.
Thank you so much.
And now you are headed to, is it?
Miss Teen USA.
And when is that?
It's November. It's actually over Thanksgiving, so I will be skipping out on the mashed potatoes, unfortunately.
No turkey this year?
No, I know. It's going to be hard.
Well, that's very exciting. Where is it at?
It's actually in Tulsa, Oklahoma this year. But it's under a new director, and so they're saying it's going to be very glamorous, and the production's going to be really cool, so I'm excited.
That is very exciting.
Yes.
And you've picked out your dress.
Yes,
already,
I actually just got back from Atlanta, and we went to the Sherry Hill Market, and it's basically 13 floors of amazing designers, and this year the teens are all sponsored by Sherry Hill, so we got to custom design our gowns, and it feels so good that something's in motion, and it's in the works.
That's awesome. Does that take off a little bit of stress knowing that you already know? Okay,
yes.
And how does that work for you? Whenever you get your dress, do you go home and try it on again, or you just
well, I actually have no idea when I'm gonna get the gown. I'm hoping it's around September, and I'll have some time to practice and figure out how I'm gonna pose in it and everything like that. But it's super exciting because then you can figure out exactly what you want to do on stage and be more prepared.
That is so exciting, Anna.
I know. And this year they also announced that we're going to have state costumes. So I'm figuring out how I'm going to represent Missouri in a very extravagant way. And I can't reveal what I'm doing yet, but it's going to be really cool. Yes.
That's awesome. Has your family been really involved in?
Yeah, my mom loves it. She always wanted me to be a girly girl, and I never was. And so when I approached her about wanting to try a pageant randomly, she was really excited. And I think we've made a lot of memories just from picking out all of the wardrobe and getting to prepare together. So it's been really special.
That's really awesome. Was Miss Teen USA your first, or Miss Teen Missouri?
Yeah,
Missouri Teen.
Yes, Missouri Teen USA was my very first pageant ever in 2020. And I was actually working at Faulkner's Ranch, which is a local event venue in Pumpkin Patch. I was cashiering, and I literally had 2 double braids. And I was approached by someone who worked for Vanbros, which is the owner of Miss Missouri Teen USA. And they gave me a business card, and the pageant was in 3 weeks. And I just decided to send it.
and look where you are now.
Yes, I know. So last year when I competed, I got everything prepared in 3 weeks, and I did a couple walking lessons, and I just decided I wanted to cross it off my bucket list and try something new for the year. And that was actually my New Year's resolution, was to try something new, and I had failed up until November. So I went ahead and signed up and did it, and I placed in top 5, and I was second runner up, and I think I just got bit by the pageant bug and decided.
For some reason I thought that this past pageant was your first one, but you did this before.
Yes, right. So I competed in 2020, and then I came back and I competed at another smaller system, and I actually won that pageant. And then I came back for 2021, and it was my time, so it worked out perfectly.
That's awesome. Going back really quick, you talked about walking classes.
Yes.
Explain that for the people.
Okay, so in pageants, it sounds weird, but you do have pageant coaches, and I had no idea that existed, but I
knew that from Toddlers and Tiaras.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was so scared to do a pageant because I thought all of the people would be like Toddlers and Tiaras. And I thought I would be surrounded by girls that were trying to rip my dress off or spill something on me and sabotage me before I competed. And that was not the case at all.
Is it completely opposite from that?
Yeah, it's so
like
opposite.
more like a sisterhood.
It's such a sisterhood. And everyone I met backstage that first year were girls that I kept up with throughout the next year. And then when we finally got to compete again, you know, in May, I already knew so many girls and we already had these relationships. And that's the part of it that I never expected. I thought the girls would be really competitive and catty, and I haven't experienced that.
That's awesome. So it's like at the actual pageant, you guys are all rooting for each other.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're competing with yourself, and that's just the reality of it.
Those are words from a confident woman. You're just competing with yourself.
Yeah, you are, because when you're at the pageant, there's not much more you can do. So it's important that you prepare enough. And obviously, when I competed my first time, I was not prepared. I had no idea what I was doing, and it just worked out for me that way because I, went into it with a really open mind, and I took as much classes as I could in the 3 weeks. But obviously, I was not in the same playing field as some of the girls that had been competing for years. And so I think that whenever I came back and competed the next year, I was just in a way better place mentally, and I knew who I was and what I wanted to bring to the stage.
Awesome,
Yes.
Anna. That's great.
Thank you.
So let's switch gears a little bit and talk more so about you really before pageants.
Yeah.
Who was Anna.long before pageants?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I never thought that I would ever compete in a pageant in my entire life because I always, like I said, kind of had a negative image of what pageantry was. And so I was super involved in tennis. I actually played soccer my whole life too. And I've grown up on a lake my entire life and been extremely family oriented. So every summer I was wakeboarding and skiing and barefooting and doing all of those things and just making memories on the lake because I've grown up on a small lake community called Lake Winnebago. And so I think that was where I found a lot of my identity, was just being on the water and being with my family and just being a homebody.
That's awesome. So
Yes.
It seems like Lake Winnebago itself just means so much to you.
Yes, exactly. And so whenever I was able to compete in the Missouri pageant and wear Lake Winnebago across my chest, that was a huge accomplishment for me in and of itself.
I am so happy for you because not only are you representing Lake Winnebago, but you are now representing Missouri and hopefully USA soon.
Hopefully.
We are all rooting for you here.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate that.
You are welcome. And going forward, do you think your family will still be there for you traveling going forward, going to these pageants? Is this something you're going to do in the near future when you're 20s going for Miss Missouri? Is that something that you are thinking about?
Competing in the Miss division?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I feel like I see myself doing that. But
does your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my family is all in. They love it. They think it's so cool. Even my little brother will sit in the audience and he now makes comments like, my mom told me whenever he was watching the Missouri pageant, he was like, that girl was really good, but I just don't know if she had the right dress for her body type. And so they're all getting really into
He's invested.
He is invested. And my dad will watch the pageants with me whenever we live stream them. So everyone's getting into it. And it's honestly a world that's really easy to fall for. And after you watch a couple pageants, I think especially the guys are really good at calling who the winner will be. And
that's interesting.
It's very interesting. My brother and my dad can always pick a winner. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow. They got to be in the audience.
I guess so.
And speaking of, I forgot what you just said. You said something like rooting for you, cheering for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Falling
for the pageant world.
Falling for the pageant world. There is someone who is falling for you, Anna.
Yes.
Mr. Should I say his name? Should we just have a secret name for him and just everyone know?
Sure.
I think the world knows
Whatever.
who Anna's boyfriend is. Cam Kiswell.
Yes.
And was he in the crowd?
Yeah, he was, and it was really special. He came and watched both the prelims and the finals, and I really appreciated that.
We love a supportive
I know.
boyfriend.
I actually have a photo of him and my brother and my dad carrying out my dress bag and all of my luggage after the pageant, and it's so cute. I know.
Does that make you feel really good knowing that,
yeah,
it just, you guys all mesh together with your families, and he still is able to sit in the crowd with your family and feel comfortable.
It's so special. And one time when I was competing in my second pageant ever, he actually was live streaming the Chiefs finals game.
Really? So he was just like back and forth.
Yes.
Once Anna's on stage, I'm looking up, but when she's not, I'm looking down.
Exactly. He's multitasking.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is so amazing, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Cam, I know some of your friends, were they in the crowd as well too?
Yes, Riley and Anne were both able to make it, and so was my cousin Chloe and my aunts. And so whenever the crown was finally placed on my head, it was so special just hearing them cheering.
Bet.
It just made the moment so much more special. And actually, while I was competing, I kept saying in my head affirmations that would make me feel better. And so one thing that I said was, God, if it's meant to be me, put me on the side of the stage that my family is on if I'm down to the double two. And when I was asked to stand on that side of the stage where my family was right beside me, I was kind of standing there like, this is it. I feel like it's me.
That's
and
awesome.
So it just made it so much more special.
Okay, while you're competing, do you like recite affirmations?
Yes, I definitely do. And another thing that really helped me was getting out of my own head. So before we went into private interviews, you interview with every single judge one-on-one, and you only have 2 minutes with them.
Oh, wow.
And it's just a round robin. And so that is super easy to feel nervous about. And so right before I went in, I was just talking to all of the other contestants and not thinking about myself, because it helped my interview be a lot more conversational and more natural.
Okay, so for how many were there?
5 judges.
5 judges.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, were you like kind of nervous and then it like died down?
And I feel like the Teen USA system really wants the girls to just be a normal girl next door, approachable, very conversational. Thank you. And so it was really fun to just sit down with the judges, especially after having a lot more preparation under my belt and understanding what I was actually competing for, and being able to just convey that to them.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Can you walk us through kind of like the day in the life of like you competing? Like when you wake up, how is that?
Well, so you wake up, and I was in hair and makeup at 4 a.m.
Oh.
Yes.
So what time did you wake up? Like 3?
Honestly, I didn't go to sleep the night before because I was just
the night before the pageant?
Yeah, I could not sleep.
Gosh.
It's the longest day ever, but it's worth it. It's so fun. And the night before, all of the Miss contestants competed. And that was super cool because I got to go to their prelims, and then I live streamed their finals in my hotel room with my mom because I just wanted to kick off my heels and lay in bed. And so Joy Forrest won Miss Missouri, and I was really rooting for her because she was actually the very first person to come up to me when I competed my first year and explain to me how pageantry affected her, and she was the first person that made me extremely comfortable in the environment where I was shaking in my boots. And so
That's awesome.
It was so special whenever she won, and now we're able to kind of do this year together, and I'm really lucky to have someone who's that big sister role model for me that was like that for me before she was really like forced to. And so I was just so excited when she won, and it made me feel like more prepared going in because I felt like the judges made an awesome decision the night before. And so I was just praying, like, I hope they see that in me too.
Right. And they totally did, which is so awesome. You got this.
Thank you. And so Miss Missouri Teen USA.
Miss Missouri Teen USA. What's the title for
Miss Teen USA?
Miss Teen USA.
Yes, it's a little less wordy, so.
Yeah, it is. Missouri Teen
Yes.
U. Okay.
And so then I guess I didn't really wake up, but I got out of bed and went to the hair and makeup chair at 4.
Okay, wait. Were you just like on your phone in bed, or were you just like laying there? Like,
I honestly was staring at the ceiling.
I that's me sometimes. It's
yes.
just like,
I would consider myself a religious person, and so I think it's important that when you're in that kind of competitive mode, you have to revert back to whatever calms you. So for me, it was prayer, and I was just laying there like, God, it's me again, just wanting to feel comforted and praying that everything works out the way that it's supposed to be. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
So
and
right after hair and makeup, what came next?
I had a Cliff Bar.
Yummy. What kind? What flavor?
Chocolate chip. It was the way to go for me. I drank an energy drink, chugged some water, and then immediately following that, I walked into interviews. And we had a mini orientation where we picked up our sashes and some things that we needed for the pageant, like a program book and whatnot.
Okay.
And then we walked into interviews.
How many girls were in the Miss Missouri Teen pageant?
I believe 40-ish. Okay. I'm not 100% sure on that number, though.
Okay.
I know that because of COVID, there were less girls competing than they had in years past, so.
Okay. And how was the energy in the room?
Nervousness.
You're just like,
Yes, it's so high energy, especially when everyone first walks up and you're in your interview outfit and full hair and makeup and it's 7 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And so you can imagine, and that's also when everyone's parents are there dropping them off. And so the moms are stressed, the kid is stressed because the mom is stressing them out, and it's just a lot of nerves. And so I was trying my best to, like I said, get out of my own head, and I was walking around being like, hi, what's your name? I'm Anna. Like, it just helped me. I'm sure I seemed a little bit obnoxious at 7 a.m. walking around introducing
Some
myself.
people are like, I'm not even awake right now, Anna. How are you? Like,
exactly. But I mean, I was hyped up, so I was ready to go, and then I walked into my interview, and it's funny because the panel of judges were so amazing because they were all people that I thought were the coolest ever. And one was a successful real estate agent, and one was a former broadcast journalist, and one was a social media influencer, and one owned her own business and was advocating for a rare disease like what I was doing. And so I felt like I really connected with all 5 of them. And when I walked out of interview, I felt in my heart, I just won interview. I know I just won interview. And that kind of carried with me.
And you could relate to all of them.
Yes. And I was just so confident walking out of that room. And I think it carried me throughout the rest of the competition.
Awesome.
I know. It was awesome. It was definitely a God thing for me. So I loved it.
Love that. And speaking of which, what disease do you advocate for?
So my brother has a form of nephrotic syndrome called minimal change. And it's a disease that affects your kidneys. All of your nephrons, there's millions of them on your kidneys, and whenever they are messed up in, normal language, obviously that's not the medical way of explaining
no, it's
this,
okay.
but whenever they are affected, they don't properly filter your blood. And so he actually was peeing out his protein, and whenever that happens, you have to go on prednisone and steroids to try and combat that. And so those kinds of medicines have really serious side effects. And so he was experiencing weight gain and depression, and it can also make your bones more weak. And so shortly after that diagnosis, he actually had a really serious knee injury. So he was in a wheelchair while also experiencing really serious side effects from this medication. And so as a big sister, even though I wasn't the one that was sitting at home in a wheelchair, it really affected me and my family because it's just hard to watch your loved one go through that kind of diagnosis. So.
And is this a treatable disease?
Yeah, so a lot of kids that have minimal change will grow out of it. Okay. And they won't. He hasn't relapsed, which is such a blessing.
Amazing.
But because of its rarity, my mom will actually get connected with other families that experience that diagnosis, and she'll get on the phone with those moms and talk them through what they're going through, because it's a lot of unanswered questions, which is really difficult, especially as a parent when you're just wanting the best for your child. And so it's cool that kind of rare disease has such a community surrounding it. And that's what I found with a lot of other rare diseases too. Like, I was recently at a brain injury 5K, and there were so many people there that can just connect with the injury that they had, where they felt so alone, but they're able to find community with others that experience those same things.
You know what, I feel like there's a reoccurring theme with you and your whole family is that community means so much to you all.
Yes.
Your mother is going out and reaching out to other people, other moms, dads, whoever, who might be in the same position as her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is comforting them.
Yes.
Which I love that. I love that so much.
Yes.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Thank you. So obviously your brother means a lot to you. Pageants means a lot to you. What else means a lot to Miss Anna?
My dog.
Your dog. What's your dog's name?
Petey. He's an Australian Shepherd, and I also have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. His name is Hamden.
Okay.
Yes. He actually is really sick right now, and he's getting pretty old, so he's been going on a lot of ice cream dates and car rides. We've been trying to make him feel special, so. Yes.
Well, that's adorable. I don't know what either of those dogs look like because I don't have pets.
They're both pretty cute.
I bet. Okay. Well, we just graduated, this past May.
Yes.
But I do know something that you were really involved in was Titan Scroll.
Yeah.
Is that something, journalism going forward, something that you are really invested in
Yeah,
impacting
absolutely.
the community still.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved journalism, not only because I loved talking, obviously, and
Same.
I loved whenever I was in that leadership position and I was able to guide people and teach younger students. I found that really rewarding. But I was also able to write about people that may not have had a voice otherwise and talk to individuals who had ADHD, who were battling mental health problems. And I talked to someone whose parents were both immigrants and his family was full. And I was able to talk to people who just had a serious injury from their sport and were out for the entire season. And it was just cool being able to write about my classmates and meet people that I would never have met otherwise, because I think especially in high school, you put yourself in a little box with your clique and your friend group, and journalism was a way for me to reach out and meet so many other people.
That's so cool.
Yes.
And I think we live parallel lives, because that's exactly how I feel about podcasting, having a conversation with people I may have not talked to before.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Yeah, you and I are so similar.
I think we are.
Yes.
And speaking of which, you seem to really love giving advice, helping people out.
Oh, yeah.
What advice would you give to younger women who may not be as confident as you? Because when I look at another person who's representing their community, I see confidence, I see powerful, I see, you look in the mirror and yes, you might have an off day, but that's not going to stop you from getting to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give to those younger girls, or even, your middle school self?
Yeah, I wish I could tell myself and other younger girls that you truly are only competing with yourself. And so it's not fair to look side to side and see these other people being successful and think, oh, wow, I'm never going to be like them. And I'm always just going to be right here when I want to be over there.
Right.
And so I just don't think that's fair, because you may be looking at someone who's been going at their goal for 10 years and you're at year one. And that can
be discouraging.
Exactly. So I think it's just really important to remember not to put your blinders on, but to remember that it's
perspective.
It's so much perspective, and it's you against the world. And so
yes,
it's so true. I just wish that I could shake my shoulders when I was younger and remind myself of that, because so often I would look through social media and feel so much comparison.
Really?
And comparison really kills confidence, because...
Absolutely. I've had conversations, and we have come to that underlining that.
Yeah. And it's just... you have to be the one that takes that step to better yourself whenever you are wanting to see change. And so I think that is something that I would just advise all younger people and older people too, because I don't think confidence has an age limit at all.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a very common misconception, is that everyone, once they get to a certain age, is just fine and they're okay and they're killing it in life. And I don't think that's the truth at all. And just always remember that social media is such a highlight reel, and it's not always the truth.
Absolutely.
And even when I scroll through my own social media, there's moments where I'm smiling and posing and I look like my life is so amazing. But in reality, I was not at 100%, and I did not have it all together. I was a hot mess. So.
Right. I was just crying before this picture.
Exactly. I just wiped up my tear and put up some mascara.
No, literally. Okay. When did you first get social media?
Actually, I had one of those moms that was strict about social media.
Okay, do you respect that though?
Yeah.
I think
I'm gonna be a psycho mom about social media.
I just read something about like Kim Kardashian, how she's like with TikTok with North, and I think it's important. Would you agree? Because
that's interesting. Is she strict about it?
Yeah, she's like this one girl they had over the house. She wanted to post this TikTok, and she ended up posting it, and she reached out to the parents and was like, "I need your daughter to delete that TikTok. I'm not comfortable having North out there like that."
Yeah.
So,
and even the way that Patrick Mahomes and Brittney chose to keep their baby private for so long and not even show its face.
That's something I plan.
Me too.
Because it's like this, can I just have this piece of joy for myself for a little bit before it's like I have to share this with the world.
I see so often on YouTube, there's so many family vloggers, and their children are basically working for no money. And they're being very exploited.
If you are recording me on YouTube and I'm 5, you better be having that savings account.
Can you imagine if your parents were vloggers and your birth was recorded?
See, and that's like Kylie Jenner, these celebrities who, later on we see how they're starting to open up about how social media and things really affected them. Would you say that it kind of, because you talked about this a little bit with like comparison a little bit, would you say that affected you when you first started using it?
Definitely, because I remember I was kind of late to the game of getting Instagram and Snapchat because my parents didn't want me to until I was a certain age.
Okay, what age was that?
I would think middle school.
Middle school, okay.
And when I think about that now, I was so young, but I felt like everyone around me had it and I was being left out. And
even middle school having stuff is kind of young.
I know.
And we see third graders who are like posting TikToks.
I know.
I'm like, can you even spell?
Stop. I know. Whenever I babysit, I always have kids that have iPads and iTouches and all of those things. And I'm like, wow.
I know. Even when I see like 2-year-olds or whoever like playing with an iPad, I'm like, please go ride your scooter outside.
I know. And I think a lot of people think that our generation is just going to shove social media and technology down our children's throats. But I think it could be the opposite.
I do too.
Because we're the generation that's seen the way that it negatively affected us.
Yes.
And so I think it could be the opposite thing where we change it.
I hope so, honestly.
Me
too. Was there any moment, like, because you talked about comparison, where you realized, like, specifically, you know what, this is enough. I am who I am. Forget everyone else.
I don't think there was a defining moment, but I think whenever I realized in hindsight that there's pictures of me where I look so perfect and I'm at 100% and everything's good in my life, but when I reflect, I wasn't really in that place mentally. So I think when I had that realization, I thought, okay, I doubt everyone is the exact like perfect representation of what they put online.
Like, you're not alone. Other people can relate to you.
Yeah.
Awesome. You know what I just thought about? The first time I think we met was 7th grade health class. Do you remember that?
I think so.
Okay, I remember this specifically because I was a little shy girl. Like, I didn't.
You were never shy.
I feel like 7th grade, I was like the most shy I've ever been in my entire life.
It's also the most awkward phase of your entire life.
Is it not?
7th grade is horrible.
Yes, we were sitting in Miss Crane's class.
Yes.
And we got paired to sit next to each other. And you're like, what's your name? And I was like, Dara Okafor. And you're like, that's so unique. Like, oh my gosh, my name's just anna.long. And I was like, oh wow, I never even thought about it like that. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just honestly boosted my confidence in that instance. And you continue to elevate. I saw your last Instagram post. You just letting younger girls try on your crown and things like that. That's so inspiring. Showing them that they can still become.
Yeah. And I think whenever I first signed up for a pageant, I thought, I want those cool Instagram photos and I want to have photo shoots for free and wear big sparkly dresses, like that photo of me over there. I mean,
beautiful. I wish you guys could see it. You guys will see it.
Well, I remember that was what I wanted, and I didn't know all of the other things that went behind being a pageant girl. And so whenever I first competed, I think I was competing for the wrong thing. And whenever I was able to reflect and take those months off to prepare for the upcoming pageant, I realized, okay, I don't want the beautiful Instagram photos. I want the impact that happens behind the crown. And I want it to be known that this is more than just a crown, a sparkly sash for me. I want to have reach and really affect the people around me. And so I think
you are.
Thank you. And I think going in with that mindset really, really changed the game for me as well, because I had the wrong idea of what I was even competing for. And now I really understand that it's about getting involved and making a name for yourself and remembering, like what I posted on Instagram, is that little eyes are always watching and you need to remember to inspire them and be a role model for those around you.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
So going forward, Anna, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself, I think I asked you this before, but like going forward, just in general, not even necessarily like the pageant world, but in life, like where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I moved to Mizzou in 2 weeks. I actually moved into college on August 14th.
Dorm life. You excited for that?
I know. I've been shopping, getting my throw pillows, all those things. I know. My room right now is disgusting because I just have piles and piles of clothing that I'm about to put in trash bags so I can move it all away.
I just went to Plato's Closet and like sold a bag of clothes.
I need to do that.
That's why I started thrifting, because I'm like, okay, let me sell my clothes, but also let me look around if other people are doing this too.
Exactly. I was pulling things out of my closet that I wanted to take for college, and there was more things that I didn't want to take than what I wanted to take. So I was like, it's time to drop it off.
It's a lot, honestly, like packing up and going.
I know. How much did you get at Plato's Closet?
I got like a good amount of stuff. I got a really big bag of clothes for super cheap. That's why I'm like, wow, that's like thrifting it's a move.
I know, it's such a move. Have you ever sold stuff to them?
Yeah, I sold stuff to Plato's Closet this last time I went, like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I got $45, so that wasn't bad.
That's good. I feel like every time I walk in with so many clothes, I have high expectations. Okay,
the secret is you have to get a smaller bag and fit like as many clothes as you can in there. give it to them. Do like smaller portions at once.
See, I'm doing it wrong.
Yes.
I keep piling it up thinking that they're going to be so impressed.
The more, the less money, the less clothes.
Okay.
Less is more.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind next time.
Yeah, you got that.
Yes, but I'm moving to Mizzou and I'm studying journalism. Surprise, surprise. I was so involved in broadcasting and newspaper in high school, and so I was really looking forward to carrying that on to Mizzou. And Mizzou is actually the #1 ranked journalism school in the nation. So
awesome.
I know it was the right place to be, and I just think it'll open up a lot of opportunities and networking for me because I do plan on living in Missouri my entire life. So
can we talk about how there's a stigma about staying in Missouri?
Can we talk about it? I actually had a TikTok that went viral because I was talking about how much I loved Missouri.
I think I saw it. If I
was like, everyone talks smack about it, but I love it here.
And like, honestly, because I'm going to Rockhurst too, and just being even downtown KC, I'm like, we have so much.
I know. I love
much.
Missouri. I love the seasons. I love the people.
Yes.
So I'll be here forever.
Don't get us wrong. We love traveling.
I know. Don't worry.
We love being on the beach, but like KC, Missouri, Lake Winnebago, they have our hearts.
I know. I won't be leaving.
That is good to hear. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for joining me today on my very first pilot episode of Chidera Brittney. You are awesome. You are so inspiring, confident, courageous, and impactful.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to keep listening to your podcast. I will definitely be a big fan. You'll always see my view. So
thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Hopefully we can be sitting here a couple months from now and talking about your big win.
And talking about how amazing your podcast is doing.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
The Chidera Brittney podcast is available on almost all of your favorite podcast apps and YouTube. The Chidera Brittney podcast is a production of Fredcast. Think, speak, act.